Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. I'm Nayanika and I talk about books, and today I'm going to share my very ambitious TBR list for 2026. So I do this reading challenge every year. So for example, for 2025, the list was called 25 books for 2025. Since it's 2026, I'm sure you understand, my list is called 26 books for 2026. If you have been on BookTube, Bookstagram, BookTalk for quite some time, you'll know that this is a thing everybody does. And if you are also participating, let me know the books you have picked up. Even though I'm hoping to complete it this year, I think even 50% or 75% will suffice. I'll be more than happy. I have tried to keep my books organized according to different genre because I do want to spread my reading across different genres this year. I've got high hopes to read these books. So I'll share my list with you. But before that, I'll show you a glimpse of how I arranged my reading journal for this particular reading challenge. So before we begin, I just want to let you know that all of these 26 books, I'll share them genre wise with you all. So first, I think we will talk about the non-fiction books, and I'm sure I know a lot of people who would love some recommendations for non-fiction. So let's begin by that. I also want to begin by saying for non-fiction, I do not read a lot of self-help. I have a couple of self-help books that I want to read this year, but they are not in this list. That said, in non-fiction, I prefer essays, I prefer memoirs, and so on, as opposed to just plain old self help or self development books. So, right, the first book I have is Letter to the Father by Franz Kafka. So I came across this book on once on Amazon when I was looking through all the books in my wish list. I was updating my wish list, and I saw some recommendation for Letter to the Father, and I was wondering what is it. So then I opened it and I got to know that this is just one book. It is one letter written to Franz Kafka's father by Franz Kafka himself. This one is very interesting because it has both versions, the original and then the English. Um, this letter is the closest that Kafka came to setting down his autobiography. He was driven to write it by his father's opposition to his engagement with Julie. The marriage did not take place, the letter was not delivered. In his preface, the translator Howard Collier states that he was the most concerned to reproduce the raw venting of feelings in the letter as well as extraordinary momentum of the prose. In both these aims, he succeeds. Unlike earlier and fussier versions, his translation catches the naked energy of the original. This new edition includes the last letter Kafka wrote to his parents as he lay dying of tuberculosis near Vienna in 1924. It's quite a tiny book, and even then, it's half the size because the other half is the original version. And this is again a translated book. So, if you want to read translated books, this is one recommendation for you all. If you're looking for nonfiction and translated books, this one will tick your list. So that's the first nonfiction book I have. The second one I have is this very famous book, and it is called 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think. So this one, it's by Brianna West. I think it's compiled by Brianna West. I'm not sure if all the essays written are also by her. It could be. But that said, this was a gift to me by my dear friend, and I really am very happy because I have read a couple of these essays before and I knew I wanted to get the whole book. So my friend was kind enough to gift it to me. Really, really excited. That said, with a couple of essays that I have read, I can say that it felt like reading Substack essays. That said, I don't have anything against Substack essays. I do really like them. So this is a book that I think I'll really enjoy reading. I'll be able to, again, this has a bit of the self improvement, self help type, but it's not completely that. So I'm looking forward to reading it. If you want some nonfiction essays, this is a great place to start, I think. Then we have another essay collection, and this is Trick Mirror by Gia Tolentino. I've had it for a couple of years and I've sadly not read it, but I do want to read it. The subtitle says Reflections on Self Delusion, and I'll share the different essays in it. There are very limited essays, these are very interesting. So we have The Eye in the Internet, Reality TV Me, Always Be Optimizing, Pure Heroines, Ecstasy, The Story of a Generation in Seven Scams, We Come from Old Virginia, The Cult of the Difficult Woman, I the Dread. So these are how many? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. So these are just nine essays that I really, really want to read. The topics are also very relevant to today's time and space. So really, really interesting. So here's a brief summary. What happens to our behavior when we live mostly online? What does it mean to always be optimizing? And what is it about scams and the millennial generation? Offering nuanced and witty reflections on feminism, reality TV, the internet, drugs, identity, and more, Trick Mirror is a multifaceted, thought provoking, and entertaining response to our zeitgeist. A must read for everyone and anyone interested in the world, in the way we live and think today. That's that. So these are the three nonfiction books in my 26 books for 2026 TBR. And if you are looking for any nonfiction books, then I think these are some really good and diverse options. Then let us talk about classics and modern classics. I have quite a few here. So I think first I should. It's all a mix actually. It's classics and modern classics. So by classics, I mean these will be at max from the 1800s, but modern classics will be somewhere 1900s to more or less today. The first book I have here is The Thornbirds by Colleen McCullough. I was told, I read somewhere, or I was told, I don't exactly remember, that this book is the Australian Gone with the Wind. And if you know me, you'll know how much I love Gone with the Wind. I have so many editions of that book. This one, people say, is the Australian Gone with the Wings. It's called The Thornbirds, and it is basically a saga. It's a heartrending epic of violence, love, piety, family roots, passion, pain, triumph, tragedy, roses, thorns, enough heartbreak for 10 lifetimes. For 10 lifetimes. The plot sweeps on in truly marvelous fashion to its tragic but triumphant conclusion. So, yeah, I have very high hopes for this. This was also a secondhand buy in some book fair or something, and I just saw this cover and I was completely drawn by it. So yeah, it's one book I really want to read. It's multi-generational also, and even the contents is named like that. Then, talking about a modern classic, we have A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. Now, this book I have been postponing picking it up because I have been told, and I've read in many places, people calling it a trauma porn, and that is the reason why I have been really postponing picking it up. But that said, I've also seen the catharsis it offers people. You cry so much and everything, and I want to read a book that makes me ugly cry. Maybe I'll regret saying this later on when I'm actually reading this book, but I haven't ugly cried to a book in quite some time, and I want that feeling. When four classmates from a small Massachusetts college move to New York to make their way, they are broke, adrift, and buoyed only by their friendship and ambition. There is kind, handsome William, an aspiring actor, JB, a quick witted, sometimes cruel painter pursuing fame in the art world, Malcolm, a frustrated architect at a prominent firm, and withdrawn, brilliant, enigmatic Jude, who serves as the center of gravity. Over the decades, the relationships deepen and darken, tinged by addiction, success, and pride. Yet their greatest challenge, each comes to realize, is Jude himself. My midlife, a terrifyingly talented lawyer, yet an increasingly broken man, his mind and body scarred by an unspeakable childhood, and haunted by a degree of trauma that he fears will not only be unable to overcome, but that will define his life forever. In a novel of extraordinary intelligence and heart, Hanya Yanagihara has fashioned a masterful depiction of heartbreak and a dark and haunting examination of the tyranny of experience and memory. What else do I need to say about this book? I am very, very I won't say excited, but I'm really looking forward to reading it and crying. Then I have a modern classic. This is Jeanette Winterson's Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit. This is based, I think, to a certain degree on her own life as she was grown up, as she had grown up in a cult, if I'm not wrong, but innovative in style. Its humor by turns punchy and tender. Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit is a few days' ride into the bizarre outposts of human access, of religious access, and human obsession. It's a love story too. I absolutely fell in love with this cover when I first saw it in a book fair. It has all these cracks that are reminiscent of an old oil painting. So yeah, I'm very very excited to read this book. Then we have another modern classic. This is Autumn by Ali Smith. Now, this is one of the four books in the seasonal quartet by Ali Smith. And by seasonal quartet, I'm sure you understand we have autumn, then we have a book named Winter, and spring and summer. I read somewhere that starting with autumn is the best option to go into the story. So that's what I am doing. This was also a gift. So many, many thanks to my lovely partner for giving it to me. Daniel is a century old. Elizabeth, born in 1984, has her eye on the future. The United Kingdom is in pieces, divided by a historic once in a generation summer. Love is won, love is lost. Hope is hand in hand with hopelessness. The seasons roll round as ever. Now I have made sure not to be very very aware of what the book is about. All I know is that people love this book, and that's all I needed to get into it. Since it's also kind of a series, if I don't like it, I'll just not continue reading the next book. But that's my thought for now. I'm really looking forward to reading it. Then we have a full on classic. It is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandra Dumas. Now, this is an epic tale of revenge, and I have very, very high hopes for it. Alexander Dumas' The Count of Monte Cristo is a legendary saga of a sailor, his romance, betrayal, punishment, and revenge. A literary classic, it has been translated into almost all the modern languages. An inspiration for many literary and non literary works, it has been a subject of various notable adaptations across different art forms. So this was also actually in my January TBR. I wanted to start reading it in January, but unfortunately I was not able to do so. That said, I'm really looking forward to reading it, and if I'm not wrong, this is also a translated version because he wrote The Count of Monte Cristo originally um in French, I believe. Anyway, I'll make sure to check it out if that is the case. But that said, I would definitely recommend you to give it a try and let me know your thoughts. I have heard it's amazing and it's worth every every page. So that's all I'm going to say about it. Then we have a couple more classics. First up, we have The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. Now, I've heard a lot about it. The Prophet is a work of spiritual fiction penned by the famous Lebanese American poet Khalil Gibran. Um, Through 28 poetic essays, the book delves into the very depths of human condition, offering timeless wisdom about life and its many ups and downs. A true mirror to the human soul, this book reveals the deepest truths of human life. Within the pages of this book is all you need to know about life, death, and everything in between. Philosophical, spiritual, and above all, inspirational, The Prophet is a modern classic that has inspired generations of thinkers and readers. So, that's that. Moving on, I have got a couple of classics. The first book I have here is The Woman Destroyed by Simone de Beauvoir, who is also the famous author of The Second Sex. In three immensely intelligent stories about the decay of passion, Simone de Beauvoir draws us into the lives of three women, all past their first youth, all facing unexpected crises. Enthralling as fiction, suffused with de Beauvoir's remarkable insights into women, The Woman Destroyed gives us a legendary writer at her best. So, this is one book that I'm really, really interested in reading, and I'll share my thoughts with you very, very soon once I do read it. Um, so yeah, this is basically three stories: The Age of Discretion, The Monologue, The Woman Destroyed. This collection is named after the third story, The Woman Destroyed. Then we have got one Penguin classic here, Penguin Modern Classic. It is The Enchanted April by Elizabeth von Arnim. Yep, interesting. The discreet advertisement in the Times, addressed to those who appreciate Wistaria and sunshine, offers a small medieval castle for rent above a bay on the Italian Riviera. Four very different women, the disheveled and downtrodden Mrs. Wilkins, the sad, sweet faced Mrs. Arbuthnot, the formidable widow Mrs. Fisher, and the ravishing socialite Lady Caroline Dester, are drawn to the shores of the Mediterranean that April. As each in turn blossoms into the warmth of the Italian spring and finds her spirit stirring, quite unexpected changes occur. It was published in 1922. It brims with laughter and magic, depiction of what it is like to rediscover joy. Really, really excited to read this book. Lastly, we have a book that I've been meaning to read for many years now, but sadly, I've been unfortunately unsuccessful in that plan. So the book I'm talking about is Delta of Venus by Anais Nin, and this is a very epic collection of stories. In Delta of Venus, Anais Nin conjures up a glittering cascade of sexual encounters. Creating her own language of the senses, she explores an area that was previously the domain of male writers and brings to it her own unique perceptions. Her vibrant and impassioned prose evokes the essence of female sexuality in a world where only love has meaning. So I've heard it's very, very interesting and I am going to read it. And there is a blurb here actually which says, Anais Nin excites male readers and incites female readers. And she comes against life with a vital artistry and boldness. This was in the New York Times review. There are quite a few stories. Let me count: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So there are 15 stories in this book. All are going to be read by me and shared with you. Then the last classic, modern classic I have here is Wolf Hall. So I'm very, very excited to read this classic Hilary Mantel trilogy. In Wolf Hall, one of our very best writers brings the opulent, brutal world of the Tudors to bloody, glittering life. It is a backdrop to the rise of Thomas Cromwell, lowborn boy, charmer, bully, master of deadly intrigue, and finally, most powerful of Henry VIII's courtiers. Brilliant. Um, I am excited to read it, to say the least. Then moving on, I have a few books which are based in Asia, Southeast Asia. The first one is a kind of a mystery book. It is a Japanese mystery book by Sheshi Yokomizo. This is the Inugami Curse. Yep. I have read the first book in the series, which was the Honjin Murders. Really enjoyed that, quite enjoyed it. This one is different, but it has the same detective, obviously. In 1940s Japan, the wealthy head of the Inugami clan dies, and his family eagerly await the reading of the will. But no sooner are its strange details revealed than a series of bizarre, gruesome murders begins. Detective Kindaichi must unravel the clan's terrible secrets of forbidden liaisons, monstrous cruelty, and hidden identities to find the murderer and lift the curse, wreaking its bloody revenge on the Inugamis. The Inugami curse is a fiendish, intricately plotted classic mystery from a giant of Japanese crime writing, starring the legendary detective Kosuke Kindaichi. Really, really intrigued to read it, and I actually love these covers for the whole series. Pushkin Vertigo, I am planning on reading every one and collecting them all. The next two books I have are literary fiction. They're not mystery. First, we have another translation, The Vegetarian by Han Kang. It has been translated by Deborah Smith. I'm sure you all know about it. So, it is a darkly beautiful modern classic about rebellion, eroticism, and the female body. One of the most extraordinary books you will ever read. This is very insightful, and the fact that I actually got this book from my friend, as you can see with all the tags here, she has made some amazing notes. So many thanks to Shivani for getting me this book, and this was translated from the Korean. So we have got one Japanese, one Korean book. This is literary fiction. The last book I have here is The Memory Police. This one is again a Japanese book. Hat, ribbon, bird, rose. To the people on the island, a disappeared thing no longer has any meaning. It can be burned in the garden, thrown in the river, or handed over to the memory police. Soon enough, the island forgets it ever existed. When a young novelist discovers that her editor is in danger of being taken away by the memory police, she desperately wants to save him. For some reason, he doesn't forget, and it's becoming increasingly difficult for him to hide his memories. Who knows what will vanish next? So I think I have got a brilliant selection. Two Japanese, one Korean, one mystery crime, two literary fiction. Very, very interesting. I also think I have quite a few translated works in the books that I plan on reading. So if you want to read more translated fictions, make a note of all the books I said were translated. So then let's move on to the next category. The next category I'll be talking about are are mythological retellings. Mythological retellings or plain retellings, because the first one is not mythological retelling, but it is a retelling nonetheless. The book I'm talking about is What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. This is a retelling of the famous story by Edgar Allan Poe, Fall of the House of Usher. I do not know anything beyond that. So all I can say is I'm excited to read it. It's very short as well, so I have high hopes for it. And that said, I really love how weird the covers of all T. Kingfisher books are. I am planning on reading more if I like this book. That said, I did try to read it. I read chapter one, and somehow the writing style was just not at all doing it for me. Then I DNF this book. But this time I want to read it and try it once again. Then we have two books, both are Greek mythological retellings. The first one is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Now, I have read Circe by Madeline Miller last year and I really enjoyed it. So, I am hoping to read this book. This basically follows the story of how Patroclus and Achilles meet, how their love blossoms, how they grow up, how Patroclus grows up in Achilles' kingdom, because Patroclus is basically kind of exiled by his own kingdom, by his own king. So he goes on to this different kingdom where Achilles is the son, is the prince of that king, and they both grow up together, fall in love, and then we have the famous Trojan War. So it basically follows that whole story, and it's very much inspired from historical mythology that we know of with the Trojan War. That said, I'm very, very excited to read it. If you have read this book, let me know. I know you are going to say you loved it because everybody seems to love it. But if you did not like it, let me know why. I would be very interested to know, um, in knowing why anybody might not have liked this book, because a majority of the reviews all say that this was an amazing book. I want to know why you did not like this book if you read it. um, the next book is also about the same historical mythological aspect, that is the Trojan War. This is A Thousand Ships by Natalie Haynes. Now, this book is about, so the title itself comes from this phrase, which is the phase that launched a thousand ships, which describes Helen. So basically, we follow all the women who are involved in this war, be it on the Greek side or the Trojan side. In the middle of the night, Crusea wakes to find her beloved city engulfed in flames. 10 seemingly endless years of conflict between the Greeks and the Trojans are over. Troy has fallen. From the Trojan women whose fates now lie in the hands of the Greek, to the Amazon princes who fought Achilles on their behalf, to Penelope awaiting the return of Odysseus, to the three goddesses whose feud started it all, these are the stories of the women embroiled in the legendary war. So I also have heard many good things about Natalie Haynes. So I think this will be my first book by this author, and I am really excited to know the hype behind these. So those are all the three historical slash retellings that I wanted to talk about. Now I have one sci-fi. This is Afrofuturistic sci-fi. It is Binti. It is a trilogy by Nedi Okrafor. I am very sure I butchered that name. I'm not able to say it, but this author is also the Hugo Award winner, Nebula, and World Fantasy Award winner as well. This is a complete trilogy, and that is why I'm so glad I have the whole trilogy, because if I like it, then I can read the whole book. Um, so basically, the author introduced us to Binti, a young Himba girl with the chance of a lifetime to attend the prestigious Umza University. Despite her family's concerns, Binti's talent for mathematics and her aptitude with astrolabes make her a prime candidate to undertake this interstellar journey. But everything changes when the jellyfish like Medusae attack Binti's spaceship, leaving her the only survivor. So, this is a very interesting trilogy. I am very, very excited to read it. And there is a lot of world building in this book as well. So, it will definitely take me maybe some time to read it. And I hope I fall in love with this book, because I have not read a sci fi fantasy in quite a long time. I think the last one I read most probably was Illumine, I think. After that, I have not read any. So, if it is a new trilogy I will fall in love with, that's great. Um, then we have some Indian fiction, and I have got quite a lot of hope with the Indian literature books that I'll be reading. The first one here is Like Being Alive Twice by Dharini Bhaskar. Now, my friend Kadri rated it 5 star. I think she really loved it when she read it in 2025 or 2024. And so I got this book. I have high hopes for this one as well. Um, In an unnamed nation that's about to rupture, Priyamvada, a Hindu, and Tariq, a Muslim, are in love. In a few hours, Tariq intends to propose, Poppy intends to say yes. Both assume that they'll fend off the political blowback, for surely the privileges will protect them. But will they? Will Poppy and Tariq Will Poppy and Tariq sustain a love so wholesome, so cosseted that it remains impervious to dystopian state? Written in alternating chapters, like Being Alive Twice, trails fact and possibility, the tale as it was and the tale as it could have been, arranging and rearranging, tweaking and nudging, hoping to find a lasting peace in one or the other story, hoping above all else that such peace will prevail over murderous times. This is a politically urgent, stylistically intrepid, and relentless in its commitment to scrutinizing love, loss, and the language of privilege. This book tells of the frantic pursuit of life piled upon life, even as a bloodied world closes in. So I'm really hoping to read this book soon and for my own thoughts. Then we have a classic. Okay, let me see if Like Being Alive Twice was translated. No, It was not translated. The next book I'm going to talk about is definitely a translation. It is the famous Pather Panchali by Vibhuti Bhushan Bandyopadhyay. This is also, the subtitle says Song of the Road. It has been translated from the original Bengali. It has also been adapted into a movie or a trilogy of movie by Satyajit Ray, which I am very, very excited to read, but I have decided to watch it only after I've read this book. Um, Vibhuti Bhushan Bandyopadhyay's remarkable masterpiece is acknowledged as one of the greatest Bengali novels ever written. Popular throughout the length and breadth of India, the story has already been brought to audiences in Europe and America by the widely acclaimed film by Satyajit Ray. Pather Panchali, Song of the Road, is a vivid, moving, and authentic portrayal of the life of a Brahmin household, seen through the eyes of the two young children of the family, Oppu and his elder brother and his elder sister, Durga. Few authors in any literature can rival Bandyopadhyay's understanding of the child mind. He writes of Oppu and Durga and their friends at home or out at play with a natural realism unmarred by adult condescension. The social environment is all embracing work and holidays, religious festivals, daily worship, and the grim rites of death. The reader senses the reality of family ties, the power of the supernatural in ordinary things, the relations between the castes and between rich and poor. In creating this picture of rural Bengal, Bandyopadhyay has introduced us to an area of life which so far has been a closed book to foreign visitors to India and which scholars know little about. The translation, which faithfully reflects the changing moods of the original as well as its many variations of style, is the work of T.W. Clark and Tarapada Mukherjee, both teachers of Bengali at the School of Oriental and African Studies in the University of London. Yeah, I have very high hopes for this. I have heard so many amazing things about this book, and as an Indian, I think you should educate yourself. I mean, read the best classics of your country, if not just your state. So that's one. Then I have one book which is from my state, from Assam. This is also, interestingly, if I'm not wrong, Assam's first graphic novel. It is The Real Mr. Borkotoki by Shishir Basumatari. A young man is troubled by recurring dreams of visiting the mysterious Munin Borkotoki, a god fearing man. Later, at a scrap dealer's shop, when he accidentally unearths a book by the very same person, he is shocked and intrigued. The man of his dreams happens to be very real, albeit deceased, and a famous Assamese writer and critic. Um, so yeah, I'm very interested in reading this book. It has got some amazing art. Let me see if I can show it to you with just one hand, or maybe two. Wait. Um, so yeah, really, really excited to read it. Lastly, I have one book which is a famous book, and I'm sure you all have heard of it. It is Amar Chitra Katha's Dashavatar, and I am very, very excited to read it. I got it off on a whim. I bought it on a whim, actually, on when I was ordering something on Blinkit, and I thought it's been such a long time since I read this story or even knew about the origins, because so I am a trained Satriya dancer. It's a classical art form, one of the classical art forms in India. I am a trained Satriya dancer, and we have one whole dance which we call the Dohavatar, Assamese way of saying Dashavatar, and it's all the different Bamon, Kurma, whatever the different avatars of Vishnu. And this book is going to be an interesting read. I've already read it long time ago. I don't even remember properly when I was a kid, because Amar Chitra Katha comics are just, it's epic. It's an integral part of every Indian child's childhood. So when I saw it available on Blinkit, I was like, I need this book. I got it. My brother just read this book, so it's my turn to read it now, and I'm very, very excited. I absolutely love the art as well. I love the art, yeah, of this book. So yeah, and I think also with young children, if you have young children in your house, it's a very effective way of making them learn about our mythology, about the Vedas, Puranas, about our religious history, so to speak, through books like these. Makes it very interesting, at least with art. Then the last book I have here is actually a children's book, and I am really excited to read it. This is The Complete Bramley Hedge. So cute. So it's about this whole society of mice who live in Bramley Hedge. They have their house in different like trees. They get married. They have friends. They have family. Um, so interesting. I'm trying to find. So this is a picture from. mm, I'm not sure if this is just a party they had or if this was from a wedding. But look at this. So this is very interesting. There was this page where they showed the whole house with the different rooms these mice in in a tree trunk. So I'm trying to find that, but I'm unable to. Only when I'm about to show it to someone I can't find. Oh, okay, here it is. So yeah, this is the last book, second last book actually that I want to share with you all. So much I've got a lot of hope for it. The last book that I want to read as part of my 26 books for 2026 challenge is one I do not have. And I'm actually very glad about it because um, it's mostly me. So, overall, I have a lot of reading plans and goals for this year, right? One of that is to read more from the books I already own. So that means out of all these 26 books I want to read in 2026, 25 are books I already own. One is a book that I want to buy eventually. It is Possession by A.S. Byatt. As far as I understand, it's a literary classic, a literary story, love story within a story, something like that. I have been wanting to read it for the longest time, and I thought since it's a book I want to really read, why not include it in my 26 books for 2026 TBR anyway? So that's what I did. I'm very excited to read it. If you want to give me that book, you definitely can. But yeah, those are all the books that I want to read in 2026. I've got high hopes, and I think I'm going to actually put all of these books here um, on my headboard because then it'll be always a constant reminder of what I can read immediately if I'm in the mood. Like if I'm wondering what should I read next. So I think this would be a good it's a good plan to keep these books here. That's what I'm gonna do. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your top priority books are for 2026. I would love to know if you have read any of these books, if you read it, and if you hated it especially. It's always very intriguing to know why a person does not like a book, even if it's your personal book, it's personal favorite book, because I think the reasons that somebody does not like a book gives you a very new fresh perspective to that book, apart from the perspective you had because of which you absolutely love that book. So if you've read any of these books, tell me if you love them, obviously why you love them, but if you read them and if you hated them, then especially make a comment and tell me what you felt. But yeah, those are all the books I wanted to talk about today. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.